I bet when you first watched the movie The Secret, something inside of you said, "Finally, I knew it." Something in you resonated with how the law of attraction works, especially when you think back to early childhood and remember when you wanted something badly enough, it seemed to come your way somehow another. It was as if, as a child, you knew the secret of attraction and making the law of attraction work. What most don't understand about making the law of attraction work is that the law of attraction doesn't respond to your thoughts. The secret of attraction works in response to your vibrations. Heck, you've been around people who put out bad vibes. You don't want to be anywhere near them. It's as if they bring you down with their negativity. And generally, when you listen to them, all they do is complain about stuff. Are we seeing a pattern here? The secret of attraction. Law of attraction. Science tells us that we are made of energy. In fact, it tells us that everything is made of energy. The secret of attraction is what powers the movement and vibration within you. It is all about what you focus on with thought and emotion. When you visualize or daydream and picture yourself in a certain scenario with great emotion, it will happen to you in some form or another. Maybe not exactly the way you pictured it, but it will show up in your life. Making the law of attraction work for you. The best way to get what you want out of life is simply to be happy all the time and keep your vibrations high. In a sense, that's a ridiculous thing to say because it's almost impossible to do, especially if you are a normal human being. On top of all this, many people don't realize that their conscious mind only represents about 10% of what's going on in their brains at any given moment. About 90% of your brain activity, meaning your thoughts, comes from the subconscious part of your being. What's down there? Unless you get therapy, you're not going to know. And most people who haven't experienced any major traumatic events in their life don't really have reason to seek therapy. The secret of attraction. The secret of attraction is in your subconscious mind. So what is in your subconscious? Think of your consciousness like a hard drive. This includes both the conscious and subconscious parts of your being. When you drop into the planet as a child, your hard drive is clean, with a few programs in place. In other words, it's set up to protect you automatically. Only there's one problem. It doesn't know the good stuff from the bad stuff and often reinforces programs that harm you when it thinks it's doing good. Up until the age of 5 to age 8, our little hard drives are busy downloading programs. These programs come to us from our parents, older siblings, and other authoritative figures, our caretakers. Unfortunately, the hard drive doesn't recognize the value of these programs. It automatically formats them to your little hard drive. Inside of these programs is locked-in viruses and issues passed on from generation to generation. While downloading these programs, something in you either accepts or rejects them, which in turn creates a new program, oftentimes wrong in its approach to making the law of attraction work. When I say wrong, we're talking about being impressed with programs of not enough love, lack, scarcity, and limitation. Your little hard drive starts running these programs and gives you experiences to match them, which ultimately reinforces them strongly. Making the law of attraction work in the way you want to is difficult when deep-seated and limited subconscious programming. In fact, it's almost impossible. What you're left with by the time you're an adult is a bunch of programs running your life, and all based upon ideas that aren't even your own to begin with. When you try to do something different or change your life, you end up experiencing a form of self-sabotage because deeply seated programming ultimately takes over unconsciously and without your conscious permission. No matter how many positive thoughts you consciously think and feel, positive thoughts only represent 10% of the total activity, while the subconscious programs represent 90%.